What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the Amish Acres Project. I'm out here on that food plot I showed in the last episode that was moldboard plowed, and from that time to now, the landowner came out. He bought a disc. This one here in the back bought a disc, bought a little drag, and he came out here and worked the entire thing up. So I don't have any footage of that, but it actually worked up really well. Did a really good job. Might have to come out here and maybe hit it again, loosen it back up. It's got a little bit of a crust on it at this point since he did it a few days ago already. But originally this was just a grass patch, and I was still trying to decide what I wanted to do with it, because the intent is to really get a fall food plot established in here. And that'll be like a base of cereal grains is what I'm planning to do here. It's actually a fall 365 food plot mix that we make here at U Outdoors. And it's got oats in it, winter rye, peas, radishes, and red clover. And the idea of that is really to obviously feed deer through the fall, but also have something growing next spring. That clover and rye will be here next spring, so we never have anything dead, and we'll just kind of rotate through that thing every year. I think that's gonna work out the best for this situation, being that it's a small half-acre food plot, and it'll be the easiest on our time, as well as we'll only have to really mow it maybe once or twice during the summer and plant it once a year during the fall. But since this is worked up, because I wasn't really maybe going to plant this or spray it until later in the year, we want to get something in here for the meantime, for the summer months, so that this doesn't just become an overgrown weed patch again. And I'm thinking, I had a couple thoughts in mind. Number one was maybe do buckwheat. The issue I have with buckwheat in this situation, being that it's probably be June, early June when I get this actually get planted in here, is that buckwheat will be long mature for any type of like no-till application by late August, early September, when I want to plant what's going to be here in the food plot, that fall 365 mix. Now if we were going to put brassicas in here, the buckwheat would have been a great option, because from June 1st, till end of July, about 2 months, 60 days-ish, would work out real well for the buckwheat, where we could have planted buckwheat in here, broadcast the brassicas into it, rolled it down, and been good to go. But since our planting is going to be, I'd say more like 90 days after we get something established here, it's just not going to work out real well for us. So I think what we're gonna do is come in here with soybeans, and I'm not gonna plant anything fancy for soybeans. Just gonna make sure it's a Roundup Ready variety, and there's two reasons for it. Number one is weed control. Being that this food plot was just grass, grown up grass for so many years, I have a concern that we're gonna have weed issues in the future. So and the fact that I didn't get a chance to spray it before it was worked up is another reason why I'm thinking, okay, we're not gonna have a great weed control regimen going through here. So if I plant soybeans now and use it basically as a summer forage crop, we plant them a little heavy and not worry about beans at all, because quite frankly, in this area, in a half-acre food plot, the beans aren't going to make beans, even if you wanted them to. And that's a big reason why we don't plant soybeans in small food plots, is because the deer will have them mowed off. But I think for this situation, where they're going to act more as a cover crop and help us with weed control, because they are going to be Roundup Ready, I think it's going to work out real good in this situation, bring some attraction throughout the summer here. And because they're soybeans, they're going to add nitrogen to the soil, which will be good for our cereal grains, which are oats and rye, and our radishes, and and that's going to add, that nitrogen is going to help them, because those are grasses, those are, you know, obviously the radishes and the grass, but they all take nitrogen. And so if we can add more to the soil, that's a good thing. So we'll kill pretty much 3 birds with 1 stone by doing that. We'll get weed control under we'll have easy weed control, I should say. Good forage, so some attraction to get deer kind of used to coming here and feeding, and we'll have a nitrogen producing cover crop, really. So here's the end of the food plot here. It worked up really well. He got everything worked up a lot better than I thought it would, especially without anything being sprayed. So it looks fantastic. I think it's gonna be a good deal here. Now the other thing we're gonna do, and this is the planting that was gonna be planted early June anyway, is right here, which we may have to work this up a little bit better. Right up here. So this is the fence line here, neighbor's fence over here. Typically he has, at least last year, there was big beefers in there, big beef, Angus bulls. Those suckers are huge, but usually that's what it's over on that side of the fence. And I don't know if there's an issue as far as going over there. It sounds like he, you know, if we shoot a deer and it goes over there, it's no problem. I don't think they hunt. But what I noticed last year hunting in this area was bucks would come through from another neighbor's, come through here to this neighbor's, and this is very open. It looks like almost oak savanna, but the grass is usually mowed down. It looks like a golf course under these big oak trees here. But instead of them coming into the property I can hunt here and kind of looping through here and running this ridge, they would just cut straight through the neighbors here and come right through this area here and just bypass the area we're hunting. And the best spot on this place, which is going to be right there, and it's the best spot in terms of access, because the house is right behind it. We got a hill we can come right up in the tree stand. So that is like going to be the main spot that we're going to want to hunt. And so we need those deer to not, you know, skip, just stay in the neighbors and kind of maybe peek in the back corner of this property. We want them to come into the property and run the ridge through and then kind of loop out of the property. So that's going to be kind of the basis of the plan on this property. So right along the fence, I want to put something as a visual blocker, because this is the high ground and everything slopes down here. And then beyond those trees, it drops down. So this is kind of the ridge here. And with the deer coming through the neighbor's property, even if I put food attraction here, which I didn't have last year, I feel like those bucks might just come up through the neighbors and can visually check if there's any does on this food plot and still not come on the property. So all I want to do is put attraction here at the food plot, and then I want to put a screen right along the fence so that the deer cannot see in. And it's kind of again a blocker, and really so they don't want to jump over the fence where the screen is. They want to go down and jump around where the screen stops, which is going to be right down there, and the tree stand should be right up in this area here somewhere. And so we wanted to stop the screen down there, jump the fence right in front of the tree stand, and loop through, check out the food plot, and kind of loop through the property. I think that's going to give us the best opportunity to get a shot at a deer if we want to. So that spot over here is really going to be the nucleus of the property. It's the spot that I want to bring the most attraction to, I guess. Bring the most reasons for a buck to want to have to swing by and check that out. And so, number one, create food with the food plot. Number two, put a screen in so that, number one, they feel more safe in the food plot when they're on our property. but also not be able to just check out the property from the neighbor's property. I want to force them to come in here and check it out. Make sure there's no does in the food plot feeding, especially during the rut. So now when they jump the fence and they finally come on the property, you're right in this area here, and you see there's kind of there's a gate here. I'm not sure if they'll jump the gate or if they'll jump the fence. They do have a trail naturally where they jump this spot here. So that's where I want them to come through in the future here. Once we get everything put in place, I want them to come right through this area here, jump the fence, and come right in here. And we'll put up a tree stand either in one of these trees here. And there's one located back there. I don't know if you can see the orange strap, but there's a ladder stand there. Not sure if I want to keep it there yet or if I want to move it over into this tree here. That'll be another video because I gotta evaluate that a little bit more. But the other plan here is obviously got some low-hanging branches. We have this little patch of brush here, kind of an island. I'm gonna add a bunch of stuff in here. I'm gonna add mock scrapes. I might add a water hole. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, but it's possible. But I want to bring so much traction to this spot where I'm going to be hunting and have the best access, so that deer, the bucks got to have it. They got to check it out. They can't not just walk past it. So that's the plan. That's the plan, and it's coming along pretty good so far. Food plot's going to be the number one thing we get in here. Egyptian wheat and soybeans are the first improvement in order, and then we will work on some other projects down there. We've got a fence that we want to fix and further force those deer to come through the fence right here in front of our best tree stand. So that's it for episode number 2. We'll hopefully get some footage of planting this here in a couple weeks, and get the fence fixed throughout the summer here, get stands in place, explain to you why I pick which tree I pick once I decide which one that is. And again, we'll take you along with all the improvements and show you the fruits of our labor, hopefully this fall.